Got a job after 9 months, and plus 300 job applications. Just want to share with you guys that I finally got a job. There were times where I got pretty low and felt like I applied to every job out there and I was either rejected, ghosted, or waiting. Getting to second and third round interviews and then not hearing back was hard. I could go on, but you get the point. I knew I was fighting an uphill battle with minimal job experience compared to better qualified candidates. But I kept trying my best in connecting with people on LinkedIn, and putting my best foot forward in interviews. Turns out, that actually all helped out. I was unknowingly the second choice for a company and was getting ghosted when I was reaching out for an update. The first choice accepted, and I was told the bad news, but I tried to stay upbeat and professional when they told me. A week later, they said there was onboarding issues with that candidate, and that they were offering me the job. I've done the onboarding process and will start soon. All this to say, for everyone else, keep your head up and stay vigilant. Also, thank you for everyone that asks questions, give helpful answers, and post encouraging stories on this thread. That's almost how I got my last job. I got a rejection letter after my interview. Month later they offered me the job. You never know what to expect. Congrats on getting the job. I got my current job a year and a half after getting rejected. I was down to me and another candidate, and they went with him. I don't blame them, he was the better choice at the time, but he eventually left and they still had my number on file. Been here for 3 years now, and I love it, so, yeah, weird shit can happen when you least expect it. I'm almost reaching your mark of 300 plus applications, but I was never even called to do an interview. No job experience and living in a third world country. It is tough, but you gave me a little hope. I thought I was the only one. I wish you an incredible experience in your new job. I think the lesson here is, don't sound bitter and burn a bridge if you don't get selected for a job. Holy shit. 300 applications? That's low for some people. Apparently that's normal on this subreddit. Mind-blowing to me as well. I'll count my blessings then, considering I landed a job after only applying to 4 places. Congrats though, OP. If you catch this, what's the job if you don't mind me asking? I remember when I thought 300 was a lot. That was a long time ago. Congrats. Just out of curiosity, does anyone know what onboarding issues might entail? What issues could come up so late in the process to make the guy lose his job? Congrats. Good work keeping at it. Getting a job can be a job itself, and now you can move on to the next chapter of your career. Plus you know that you were able to do it this time, so a lot of challenges in the future will not look as bad in comparison. Do you connect with random people on LinkedIn? Or PPL you personally know? Asking for myself who still struggles asking random PPL to connect on LinkedIn with me. Go you. I love seeing the success stories. Many of us are trying as hard as we can and it is nice to get a boost of hope. Thank you, and best of luck on your new adventure. This has happened to me also in a job, where they hired their first choice but a different employee got fired so they needed another person and I got the offer. It is a great lesson in just letting the universe do its thing and bring you what it wants to. You never know anything for sure, so if it happens, cool, if it doesn't happen, sucks but whatever. I was unknowingly the second choice for a company and was getting ghosted when I was reaching out for an update. I was hired once myself but I wasn't their first choice. I was the backup candidate. Their first choice bailed on them about a week into the job when his dream job called. They called me 10 minutes later. Most companies interview several people for the job these days. You never know if you were Miss America or Miss. What did you graduate in and what's your previous experiences? I only had 2.5 years of EXP when I got fired in March from public accounting. I will say, I was totally against finding an accounting job. People were pushing that on me, but I hated the 2.5 years, so that played a part in me getting a job after 9 months of looking. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing, always great to hear good news. Congrats. What do you do? I did public accounting. Now I'm a supply chain loss financial analyst. Congrats, yep, persistence is always key. I got a similar scenario where I was not the first choice to the role I'm applying for, but the next day the recruiter told me they want me on a similar role but on a different team. I just had a casual talk to a manager the next day if I have questions on the new role, then after a few days they gave me an offer. Stop forcing a career not meant for you. After some research and observation I found that many people are seriously unhappy with their jobs. Oftentimes and in most cases I read the question how to reach the next level in salary or what to do with a certain degree or which way to choose in general. Nobody asks, what makes me happy? It seems that everybody is studying nowadays to have a high income but flushes individual happiness down the drain. Why would you go study economics if you have been good at working with metal all your life? For myself I realized that following a path to satisfaction and happiness is not linked to high income at all. And yes, a lower income may be a result. And yes, you will not be able to vacay on some distant island twice a year. And yes, you will not have a Porsche to drive. And yes, you can forget about the apartment downtown. Well, FK it. Be happy, people. Don't look for a career. Look for satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness. And things like confidence, ease and energy will come automatically. Forget money. It's a detour. I routinely see posts where people are overly excited to land low-level jobs after only 300 applications. Considering the convoluted, bureaucratic, and Byzantine nature of work and the hiring process nowadays, it is difficult to understand how any reasonable person could have a passion for the ever-changing and splintered niches that job descriptions and titles contain. People are more educated and trained than previous generations, yet there are fewer and fewer decent positions. Exactly, thank you for writing this. I've been turned down so many times, it seems like I'm never qualified enough. They all have these specific requirements, yet almost always fail to reply. Being ghosted sucks. You'd have to be pretty thick to think that you'd ever find any enjoyment in working as slave labor. Is it really about high income, holidays, and fast cars? I think people are struggling to get low-income jobs which don't expect them to kill themselves to receive it. For the vast majority of people it is not about high income or enjoyment at all, it is keeping a roof over your head and your kids from starving. This is the thing. I come from poverty. When I graduated high school, my parents' combined income was under 20,000 year. All of my family attended my high school graduation ceremony because my parents were both dropouts. I have no cushion or safety net aside from myself and never have. I worked throughout undergrad and later graduate school, because I had to pay rent, put gas in my car, pay my phone bill, etc. Ideally, I'd like to quit or retire from this job someday to pursue something creative, but in order to be able to do that, I have to build my own cushion first. No one else will do it for me. I spent enough of my life already worrying about where my next meal would come from, what I was going to do if I had an unexpected bill, or how far I could make the $3 in my account stretch. When you claw your way out of that shit, there's no desire to go back. I 100% agree, nowadays most people are looking for a wage they can start a family with or just relax in the evening doing whatever they like as long as there is food and shelter. And even if I could get a job that has to do with my passion, I don't live in the area required and I can't afford to move. It is a lot more complicated than just do what you love even if it pays less. Not worth doing what you love if paying less means I also can't afford to pay rent. Seriously, I graduated from a top college in 2018, and bachelor requiring jobs in big cities like Chicago and NYC were offering $35K starting salary. Actually, one in Chicago emailed me back amending that to $32K. That's the norm outside of most STEM. It is not about luxury vacations or excess spending or being materialistic, it is about wanting to make a decent living with which you can eventually support a family if you wish, which employers would rather kill themselves than remotely provide you with. It seems the only way you can get that is by getting a super technical degree or super technical skills. It is either being completely unable to save a dime or forcing a career not meant for you in order to get some semblance of financial security. People don't really have a choice here. We're way past following our passions or whatever. You get shit on when you do. The countless times I've seen people on here get clowned for majoring in anything they even kind of liked. It's demoralizing, so it is either force yourself to get a degree you're not into so you can get a job with a livable wage, get a degree you're genuinely interested that you deserve to be in debt for and unemployed by, you dummy, or why didn't you just go to trade school and ruin your body before 40? And then literally everyone is told to just learn to code as a means to solving their problems. Edit, okay, I just saw forget money, at the end of the OP. This is an absolute joke. I think this is good advice, but I also think instead of focusing on finding a dream job, people should focus more on their relationships with others, their friends and family. Find those dream relationships instead. It is proven that better relationships is what leads to a happier, longer life. Very few people find fulfillment in a job, but good quality relationships will always lead to much more life satisfaction. It is instinctual, jobs aren't particularly natural. I totally agree with this. I have found no matter where you go or what you do, despite how big cities or companies treat people, it's the people who will genuinely impact your life for the better or worse. I hate working in HR and am wanting to do something else with my life. HR is making me unhappy. I only stay in it because of my salary. I like the money, but it is becoming painful to get through each day I have to work. I want to go the fire route, but being in a job I hate is making it difficult to function. But what if your passion doesn't pay well and leaves you with a very low income and unable to provide for yourself and not being able to save or invest? That's an unhappy life too. I hate HR too, and now I'm in a sales type of role, hoping this pushes me out of HR permanently. It is a department that doesn't actually get much respect at all. I know in the USA having vacation are very rare because the jobs give time for vacation but will also shame you for trying to take it too. Seen it way too many times on Reddit, but for me I love to draw and want to make money off that, but I'm also impoverished where it is either work so much to have bills pay or lights are turn off. Do you know what makes me happy? Being able to pay my bills, afford a house, and live life. Sometimes, doing what you want or what makes you happy will provide you your daily needs. I am an instructor and I love teaching people, but with my salary, everyday needs and the need to physically and mentally rest seems like far-fetched dream. It worries me sometimes. I like what I do, but I don't want to work so hard like that every day and just die working. I understand the sentiment well. I am 61 years old. I have spent my life chasing money and jobs that paid well. I spent my share of life out of work or hating the high-stress environments I found myself in. I had trained as a diesel mechanic in my youth, but my parents demanded I do something more with my life. It was a huge mistake. I am finally working in heavy industry and I love the work and I finally feel at home with the job and the people. I don't know what else to do but apply for these type of jobs. It's hard to think about what makes you happy when you need money and food on the table. Good advice. I wasted 10 years being miserable in sales, chasing big paychecks, before getting into technology. Thank you for making this a point. You really need to make sure your job is something you are going to love. I would rather do a career I love for less, instead of a career I hate for more. My dream is to move out of NYC, and become an editor or writer for a small town newspaper somewhere in the Midwest. I promised myself that I will follow the path that is going to make me happy, not what my parents or society expects of me. The problem I've had is that the only jobs I can get are jobs that I don't really want. They pay well enough, but I would very much prefer to take a step back in pay in order to do a job that suits me. Unfortunately, I can't even get an interview for those jobs. It seems like I've been pigeonholed into this one specific type of role and now there's no way out. No one wants to train a smart, motivated employee anymore. They'll only hire you if you already know how to do 90% of the job. I hear you. I think most people dream long-term but don't have the perspective of the short-term. Your Porsche example is perfect. Many people think a sports car would be fun. It is just a trouble magnet that is expensive to maintain and will kill you if you make one small mistake. The answer? Just do what you do. Save some money and go drive one at a racetrack. You can totally rent one while having the comfort of a professional to assist you. Anyone see Romain Grosjean escape that death trap? That's a badass life. Now he has 2 burned hands. Listen to his story. What seemed like seconds was minutes in fire for this dude. Do we all want that? I'll take my warm home with green chili soup and reruns of Downton Abbey and King of the Hill. Green chili stew is where it's at. For years, I was trying to force myself into a career digital marketing that I was a round hole trying to force myself into a square peg since the field pays well and it will please my parents. Living in NYC, the field paid really well. Trying to force myself into this career resulted in nearly ruining my resume, burnout, moving out of the city I once loved and depression. On interviews it was painfully and embarrassingly obvious it was not the career for me. I disliked the direction the industry went in and I wasted a lot of everyone's time, especially my own. Why in the world was I even applying to these jobs in the first place if I didn't like the industry? Never even got near that high salary and such I was trying to achieve because I wasn't motivated to keep up with the constantly changing industry, and it created an internal battle between my passions or a job that I can at least mix in some of them and practicality. Don't get into it just for the money, and if you are not interested in it is something I hear from some people trying to get into high-paying tech jobs such as software development since it pays 6 figures. Now I need to figure out a good explanation for making a career change. Although everything that happened this year and is causing people to reevaluate their lives is a good reason enough. Being poor will make you miserable, depressed also in countries without a safety net and a decent healthcare system, but it is okay also not making 6 figures. I had to come to terms that I might not be cut out even for the stress tolerance that is required for a lot of high-paying 6-figure careers. Some of which lead to jumping on the hedonic treadmill and the need to keep up appearances, but that's for another thread. Money is necessary, up to about $75,000 according to studies, but it is only one part of the equation. What did you not like about digital marketing? I just graduated in business marketing and I'm afraid I'm not creative enough to be in this field. I feel like I'm more of a technical person that enjoys knowing what to expect from start to finish, so I'm wondering if I'll be going into the wrong field. Forget money. Money is very important to most people. Not to drive a Porsche or visit an island like you say, but for peace of mind. How about look for a job that gives you personal fulfillment and pays well? I'm looking for a computer programming job because I genuinely enjoy computer programming and math, and logical problem solving in general, not because it is a high-paid career. I'm not even sure it is all that high-paid anymore. I keep getting told that £20,000 is a perfectly reasonable starting rate in an area where £21,000 is minimum wage. That said, almost every job I've actually gotten is just a minimum wage data entry job, and the ones that weren't were worse. I think the reasoning is this guy likes math and programming, but I think those things are boring, therefore this guy will just love anything boring I make him do. I personally hate my high salary job. But I'm doing it now so I can not work in the future.
Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.